not as a plastic fit, for you to step forward above the parapet and absorb all the criticisms and the fear of being defunded by a group of people. I want to salute you, and I thank you. Oba Atokwe.
Thank you. Very powerful words. Thank you, Chris, for speaking in today's ceremony. This time last year, a new generation of Jesuans, our first-year undergraduates, or otherwise known as freshers, arrived in the college. They were a unique year, not just because they were the first year to contemplate a full year of learning under a pandemic situation. The 2020 intake comprises a diverse student body, wherein 1 in 3 students describe themselves as people of colour. What of students studying Jesus who've joined Jesus in the last 3 weeks? This year's is the most diverse year to enter the college. We strive to be an institution which values excellence and throws our doors open to students of all backgrounds. Our postgraduate community is also diverse. It has been drawn in the last few years from over 40 countries in the world who make their way here to Jesus College, Cambridge to study. We are a truly global college. We are a truly global college where conversations happen. It is against this backdrop of diversity and inclusion that the Legacy of Slavery Working Party, stewarded and chaired by Dr. Veronique Motier, began its work in 2019. It was charged with taking a critical and scholarly look into our college's past. Dr. Motier.
Thank you, Master. As the Master has pointed out, the process of collective deliberation over the bin and bronze was a process in 2 stages. First, Jesus College students, whom we teach to ask critical questions about the world around them, did precisely that. They asked critical questions about this object, culminating in the call for the return of the bronze. However, for this to actually happen, a second phase was necessary, that of extensive archival research and honest collective institutional deliberation. The LSWP at Jesus College was created to explore the long-term shadows that are cast over our institution today, indeed over any Western institution, by the horrific histories of slavery and colonial violence. The reason for undertaking this kind of inquiry is not just out of historical interest, however. The wider question which is at stake here is how can we ensure, as a modern-day institution, that we live up to the diversity that the Master has just described. When the LSWP started its work in summer 2019, the first topic that we tackled was the question of what's the right thing to do with this magnificent bronze. The academic experts on the LSWP at the time were Michael Edwards, Chris Jepson, Ellie Robson, Renaud Morieux, Shaila Fennell, Claire Fenton Glynn, college archivist Robert Atwell, and last but not least, Julius Grower. Dr. Grower's brilliant legal analysis created an important foundation for our deliberations. We were also guided by the invaluable advice from our external member, Professor Vereen Shepherd from the University of Mona in Jamaica. We carried out extensive collective research on the historical, legal and moral status of the ownership of the bronze. And I will just briefly highlight 2 of our findings. Firstly, we found that the college's historic papers explicitly recorded in 1905 that this institution, and here I'm quoting literally, this institution agreed gratefully to accept this bronze figure, which formed part of the spoil captured at Benin. After the person who gifted the bronze to the college died, at least 128 other artifacts from Benin that were in his possession were sold in 1930. The catalogue of this auction states, and here again I'm quoting literally, that these highly important bronzes, ivory and wood carvings from the walled city of Benin were removed by himself after the capture of the city in 1897. In other words, these documents showed clearly that the college accepted and kept the bronze in the full knowledge of the conditions of its journey to Cambridge. Secondly, we examined arguments concerning the legality of looting in times of war. It's often said that we should keep objects that were acquired in war because it was legal at the time to take them. In fact, at the time of the attack on Benin City, international law, and in particular the laws of war, prohibited the carting off of cultural heritage or indeed civilian properties. However, reflective of the then prevailing Western attitudes towards Africa, these laws were not considered to apply to colonial military actions such as the 1897 attack on Benin. In other words, as a matter of international law, looting the palace's objects was indeed legal. Nevertheless, it's important to remember that legal is not necessarily the same as moral. Knowing these historic facts, we cannot unknow them. It therefore became crystal clear that if the legality of our ownership ran counter to the principle of equality before the law, then that ownership claim was simply immoral. The question of what's the right thing to do now had a very simple answer. The LSWP concluded that this object never truly belonged to us and made the recommendation to return it to its rightful owners. The fact that the Fellowship of Jesus College as a whole were able to have an open and honest conversation over our recommendation is tribute to the courageous leadership of our master, who oversaw the decision-making process over the bronze in the very first days, in the very first weeks of our mastership. I think I can speak for the entire LSWP when I say that today is a moment of mixed emotions. We're all thrilled at seeing this day arrive, when the bronze is finally returning home. But we're also painfully aware of having deprived its rightful owners for so long of its presence, and we offer our heartfelt apologies for this historic wrong.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Oluwakemi Akinrele, and I'm a student of History of Art at Jesus College. I would like to start my speech by saying a massive thank you to our college master, Miss Sonita Elaine, for having me speak today and be a part of this ceremony. It's a pleasure to welcome the delegation from Nigeria and the Royal Palace of Benin. I only just started studying at Cambridge this October, and so to be standing here in front of you all talking about something that is so important to me feels like an immense privilege. Growing up in Nigeria allowed me to experience the power of art to unite communities in its representation of a shared sentiment. My appreciation for this, along with my recognition that art's reluctance to impose one single story of a period enables a less restricted understanding of the past, are some of the main reasons I chose to study history of art. When they were made, the Benin bronzes were a symbol of regional strength, representing what could be achieved through diligence. And today, 500 years later, they continue to act as a unifying force for Nigerians all over the world who advocate fiercely for their homecoming. Unfortunately, the majority of what remains from the Benin Empire, a period in Nigeria's history which remains integral to our identity today, are the Benin bronzes. These bronzes are significant to us today, not only in their function as rich historical sources, but perhaps even more appropriate to the conversation about repatriation, because the materials used to make these objects are the products of a once harmonious trading relationship between the Benin Kingdom and various European empires. The return of this Benin bronze, the okuko, hopefully marks the beginning of a period where Britain begins to reconcile itself with its colonial past and Nigeria begins to regain control of its cultural and historical narrative through art. Left in their current institutions, these bronzes represent the worst of colonial-era injustices. But returned, they will reinforce pride of a period in Nigeria's history that remains cherished today. I'm not saying that the Benin bronzes are not appreciated outside of Nigeria. In fact, they certainly are. However, as asserted by author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, it is easy to forget, as we marvel at these objects, that they are religious, spiritual, and sacred to Nigerians. And this brings me to my point about the meaning of an artwork being completed by those who view it. When Okuko, the cockerel, was gifted to the college by a student's father in 1905, it was described as part of the spoil captured in Benin during the punitive expedition of 1897, and seen as an appropriate gift given that the college's crest has 3 cockerels on it. Returned today, however, Okuko will re-embody its intended status as a ceremonial object in commemoration of the Yoba of Benin, the Queen Mother. Although using a male animal to commemorate a woman may seem unusual, this effectively conveys the fact that the traditional powers and privileges granted to the Queen Mother were equal to those granted to men at the time. And so, even though art can be appreciated outside of its place of origin, it is not until these bronzes are placed back into the presence of those whose history they represent that they will stop being merely artifacts of curiosity and finally re-embody their intended meanings as spiritual and artistic masterpieces. To me, today's ceremony represents a big step towards reconciliation between the UK and Nigeria through art. Studying history of art in an institution with a colonial past can be a difficult experience to navigate, but Jesus College has made me feel immensely proud to be a member of its community and left me feeling extremely hopeful for the future. No nation should ever have to beg for its artifacts to be returned, and I'm glad to be a part of a community that is beginning to recognize this. I thank Jesus College for listening with open ears to the dissenting voices of the students who dared to challenge the cockerel's presence in the college in 2016 and for responding with action. This moment is deserving of great celebration, and it is my privilege not only to be witnessing it, but also to be a part of it. Art lives in history, and history in art, and it is not until these sacred objects are returned that their stories will be complete, and they can take on their intended meanings, living in their intended homes. Thank you.
It's a privilege to understand how this historic moment, which we hope will resonate around the globe, affects you as a first-year undergraduate who arrived in Jesus 3 weeks ago to commence studying history of art, and now find yourself speaking your words of truth to a room and back to Nigeria. Thank you so much for your honesty. The bronze is going home. It was forged, we believe, in the 16th century. It is beautiful. It is a work of highly skilled artistry. It is a work of culture and practice rooted in Benin. It has spiritual significance. It now gives me great pleasure to invite to the lectern, to represent His Royal Majesty Obeware II, His Royal Highness Prince Agatise Eridiawa.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much, Master. And Your Excellency, let me stand on existing protocol. To me, what I'm saying here is like what Oluwakemi said. It's not just a work of art. When I first saw Okoko, I got extremely emotional. I have a short speech, but I was not sure if I could deliver this speech. I grew up in the palace of the Oba of Benin. And I know the palace of the Oba of Benin as it is today. We were raised in the palace of the Oba of Benin with explanations of how the palace of the Oba of Benin was in 1897. Not just the grandeur, but the power associated with the palace of the Oba of Benin. So standing here and seeing this object, which I know from my own history, my family history, how far into the recesses of the Oba's palace and his inner chambers some strangers would have had to get to and ransack to get something like this. These were as shrines that were very, very sacred to the Oba's palace and to the kingdom. So people removed these things and took them away, calling them arts and loot and spoils of war, all kinds of names. We still don't see these things as loot, as spoils of war. We still have ceremonies in which we make references to certain objects which are not with us, but we know exist. They are indestructible. So we refer to certain objects. We know they are far and wide. Like Professor Emafidon mentioned just now. When our father came to Cambridge, he was in King's College, my father. He told us very many stories. He had gone far and wide. And then he said his father visited England also. And he made that statement. This cockerel will come back home one day. So here we are today. Thank you very much. I have a very brief speech I want to raise because of some issues I want to raise. But they're in line with what Veronique said before and what Oluwakemi said. But let me begin by bringing to all of you the greetings and well wishes of His Royal Majesty Oba Ewa II, Oba of Benin. I am one of a 3-member delegation whom the Oba has sent to Jesus College in response to your invitation to him to receive the bronze cockerel, which actually is rightly pronounced Okoko. But you know, we don't mind. For the past 2 days, the master and I have been trying to get it right. So, the other members of the Oba's delegation are Chief Unesoyi Edosonwa, the seasoned lawyer, senior advocate of Nigeria. And also with us is Prince Issa Bayero. I know that many people will be wondering, why is Issa Bayero here? He's from the Emirate of Kano. He's here watching brief, as it were, for the Emir of Kano, the Sultan of Sokoto, and the Shehu of Borno. These are eminent traditional rulers in their various domains. And they had a keen interest in all of these matters. And they wanted him to also be here. Thank you very much for receiving us. Let me say, Jesus College today is demonstrating the need for a change of attitude in the perception of imperialism and the ownership of ancestral heirloom. By studying the circumstances of colonial activities with respect to illegally obtained heritage arts and coming to the conclusion that it is immoral to retain such items, Jesus College is indeed challenging the erroneous argument that stolen art cannot be returned because of the existence of different legal jurisdictions on the matter. Another argument for the resistance to restitution is how well and secured repatriated works can be kept. I am pleased to say here that the government of Edo State in Nigeria, with the Palace of the Oba of Benin, is planning the construction of a new museum to be sited just outside the Palace of the Oba of Benin, to be known as the Benin Royal Museum. The Benin Dialogue Group, which has been very active in the call for the return of Benin bronzes, has been working closely with our indefatigable Nigerian National Commission for Monuments, for Museums and Monuments, on behalf of the Royal Court of Benin, for the repatriation of these works, which were looted from Benin in 1897 and have since found their way all around the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, on the occasion of today's historic event, we must appreciate the efforts of the student body of Jesus College, who initiated the call for the return of this bronze, of which we know there are many more of its type in existence around the world. We are also grateful for the work of the Legacy Slavery Working Party, which the college constituted to study wider ramifications of the subject. Most importantly, we must thank Sonita, the Master of Jesus College, for the promptness with which she decided that Ohoho is, and I quote, royal ancestral heirloom which belongs with the current Oba at the court of Benin. And God bless you for that. In conclusion, we must thank and commend profusely Abba Tijani, the Director General of the National Commission for Museums and Monuments, and his dedicated staff for their unflinching efforts. I believe it falls on them at the end of the day to take their deserved credit before the Oba himself when this bronze is presented to the Oba of Benin as soon as we get it back home. Finally, permit me to thank His Excellency Ambassador Ishola Tunji Sharafa, the Nigerian High Commissioner to the UK, for always lending his support to this struggle and for being here personally today. Once again, on behalf of His Royal Majesty Oba Ewa II, Oba of Benin, and the entire people of Benin, we say a very big thank you. May the Lord God Almighty bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Royal Highness. It's an honour to have you with us on this historic occasion. Your presence here honours the wishes of His Royal Majesty Oba Eware II to back the work of the National Commission for Museums and Monuments as they set about, as you say, that indefatigably set about their task of bringing all the bronzes home. It gives me great pleasure now to invite to take centre stage Chichi Nowanoka, founder, artistic and executive director of the Chineke Foundation, and a newly appointed visiting fellow at Jesus College. Chichi Nowanoka.
Thanks, Anita. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is a beautiful occasion, but also an important occasion. Today marks a major milestone in our history that is well overdue. The first wave of progress was one that allowed people of African heritage like myself to thrive in a country and industry where people who look like me did not typically get very far. I hope that the restitution of this exquisite Benin bronze artifact, started by the students and the fellowship here at Jesus College, Cambridge, will mark the beginning of the next wave. One that will see more treasures returning to their birthlands. I can't wait to see them displayed in the country in which they were created. I'm so proud to stand here today as a visiting fellow of Jesus College, Cambridge, and I was extremely honoured to be asked to play a few notes of music. To try to do justice to the occasion, I commissioned a very short piece from one of our most celebrated young talents, James B. Wilson, a British composer of African descent. James, please, just here. James adapted a traditional Nigerian folk song for me to play on the double bass, which is not a traditional Nigerian instrument. And so with great humility, I present for the very first time a song of thanks and joy, Oshe Ayo, a sunrise song, Onu Dalu Ndewu.
So much, Chichi Nwanoka. The fellowship are so pleased that you're among us. Thank you so much. Thank you also, as Chichi said, to James B. Wilson, one of the UK's most talented young composers, for that specially commissioned work to honour this occasion. As she says, James is over there in the auditorium. Thank you, that was so beautiful. I'm very pleased that our institutional journey, which began in 2016 when a student brought to the foreground the story of how the bronze came to be at Jesus, is coming to a culmination. I return to the question which institutions such as ours grapple with. What is the right thing to do? These days we are faced with so many questions and so many decisions. What we are doing here is simple but profound. Let us talk about how this bronze that Jesus came to us, its origin story, is shared with so many other bronzes. It was wrested away from its home in 1897. It's an object of beauty, and as people have said today, it's an object with meaning, spiritual and religious. I look at it and I can appreciate its beauty, but am I the person who gains the most pride from embracing and beholding its traditional and cultural significance? It's an object separated from its family of other bronzes, scattered across the globe and residing in glass cases and in storage facilities. We applaud the fact that institutions such as Aberdeen University Museum will be returning a Benin bronze tomorrow. And countries and museums in France and Germany and the Netherlands are dealing with the question posed when one takes heed of the origin story of the bronzes scattered across the globe. When one decides, as the Fellowship of Jesus did, to right a wrong. We are the first institution to realise that the moral imperative is powerful enough to propel one through the host of reasons sometimes given as to why this is a difficult task. It is only profound because we are the first. However, it is and was a very simple decision. As individuals, we understand property. If I had in my possession your grandmother's wedding ring and my ancestors had stolen it from your grandmother and you found out about it and you questioned me and you said, "Can I have it back? It's a family heirloom. What should I do?" We get that as individuals. We get that. It's a simple moral question. It must be answered with no caveats, with no conditions. I must just give you back the object. I must give you back the ring. We are proud to be the first institution to simply act, to just do it. This Benin bronze, this okoko, as I said at the very beginning of today's ceremony, does not belong to us. It is now my great honour to call to the table the individuals who will sign our legal transfer, which is all we need to do to say categorically, this is not ours, it belongs to you. First, I would like to invite the bursar of Jesus College, Dr. Richard Anthony. Richard, having signed, will stand to the left of the table and officiate the signing. Secondly, I would like to invite the legal representative of the National Commission for Museums and Monuments, Babatunde Adebiyi. Can I now call upon Dr. Veronique Mortier, Chair of the Legacy of Slavery Working Party and Fellow of Jesus College, Cambridge. I would now like to invite Professor Abba Tijani, the Director General of the National Commission for Museums and Monuments. I will now sign myself as Master of Jesus College, Cambridge. And finally, I now call Chief Charles Edison Way to sign the document. It gives me great honour to please ask His Excellency Ambassador Tunji Esola, Nigerian High Commissioner in the United Kingdom, to step forward to sign the document. Finally, to agree and acknowledge and agree, I would like to invite His Royal Highness Prince Agatise Iridiawa. I can ask our delegation from Nigeria, Prince Agati, say, please, this bronze is yours. Everyone, it's a wonderful sight. I want to say thank you to Aaron Akugba, one of the UK's much in demand trumpeters, for so beautifully drawing our ceremony to such a wonderful close. A full stop in the chapter of this bronze. It has returned home with the love of Jesus College. I hand it over, the okoko, to His Excellency Ambassador Sarafa Osola, High Commissioner of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, the Master of Jesus College and the entire Cambridge University community, the DG, National Commission for Museum and Monuments in Nigeria, the powerful delegation of the Oba of Benin. I salute you all. A lot has been said today. I'm just here to express the gratitude of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, for this wonderful step that has been taken by the Cambridge community. Mr. President is committed to the retrieval of all the artifacts outside Nigeria. And for Cambridge to set the pace, just confirm the tradition of Cambridge being the pace setter all over the world. I want to challenge the community that it's not over until it is over. And the journey to that 1,000 miles has started today. We will need the collaboration of this institution to assist us in the retrieval of other artifacts in UK. I was at the British Museum to present our case, even before the Museum and Monument delegation came. I'm told that what we need is a parliamentary lobby because some of these issues has to do with Act of Parliament. And I know that Cambridge has the resource to support us in this direction. So once again, I thank you for this wonderful initiative. The people of Nigeria are grateful. The people of Benin are also more grateful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, High Commissioner. And it's this Jesus College is proud to have done this today. I would also finally like to hand over this bronze to to Prince Agatise Iruadua for the Oba of Benin. Thank you.
Symbolica.
Yes, yes. Oh.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I hereby hand over this bronze to His Royal Majesty, the Oba of Benin, for safekeeping and in fulfillment of the desire of Mr. President that all these artifacts should be returned to where they belong. Thank you very much.
Gentlemen, this is your bronze. Just a final few words for me on behalf of everyone at Jesus College. Just a final few words. It has returned. It's returned home with the love of Jesus College, going with it. Our college motto is prosperum iter facias. May your journey be successful. We've had the blessing of this bronze's beauty since 1905. We are delighted that it is now with its rightful owner, and we wish it well on its journey, and hope that in Nigeria, all in Benin City in the future, a 10-year-old boy or girl will be able to gaze upon it and feel proud of their heritage. The right to see their own heritage in their own land is uncontestable. Thank you. Sorry. We're new friends, we're just talking, we're catching up. As I said, the right to see it in their own heritage, in their land, is uncontestable. Thank you so much for being here in the Frankopan Hall at Jesus College for what I think has been a really historic occasion. Thank you very much for taking part and viewing the ceremony from outside the college via the live stream. Thank you so much. My final words are, it is done. Coming,